you can't just play notes. The way you play a note is more important than what notes you're playing. So I think there's a lot of guys out there that just try to play as many notes as they possibly can without paying attention to, like, I mean, if you're playing your note over here compared to over here, like, it's a huge difference. Like, your tonal wise, the mood that you're setting, everything changes. It also depends on style of music you're playing. So that's also probably why I would tend towards more rock and bluesy type of vibe things when I'm playing, because there's so much more feel. So I mean, you can go in and you can really play with your tone, and the tone is my main thing. So that's what I would rather. Miles Askus. Previous projects are probably the most notable that I've probably mainly done most of my stuff was Jet Black Camaro. So that was like the whole rock and roll vibe things. But there have been lots of little other smaller projects here and there jumping around. So any different type of thing that I could get hold of, I basically jumped into. So that's, yeah. So, but at the moment, currently mainly just the Sunday church gigs. Influences, well, it started off obviously my dad's a bass player, so we've kind of just had to. It was forced on us, like we didn't have an option. No, between my brother and I, we both also went through that phase when we were younger. We picked up a guitar and then we thought that was going to be cool until we realized it's not cool. But it was also just bass kind of became a little more natural, I think. So found things. It's also easier to get jobs. There's a lot less bass players out there, and I guess egos aren't big enough to play guitar, so I had to go to bass. Local players, well, obviously my dad, so that's going to be like the main influence. I think that's quite an obvious influence. Of course, my uncle, so that's also another influence. But when we were growing up, we had like a lot of influences. So between my brother and I think we're very fortunate enough for that type of thing. So there used to be like a whole collective vibe type of thing with these monthly meetings. So between guys like Concord and Victor Masondo and all the other guys who would give these workshops, and those are things I think that you stick with you. So you might not particularly remember exactly what the workshops are on, but the vibes and stuff I think just always stay behind. At the moment, favorite songs to play, I don't really learn many songs lately, to be honest. If I play, I just kind of pick up and just make a noise. I don't really learn songs to the T that much anymore, mainly because if there's no reason to know a song off by heart, like you're always going to forget it 10 minutes after you learn it. But some things, like, I mean, 46 and 2 from like Tool, obviously, there's like a fun one. It's a nice little riff that you can mess around on, and it's like a lot of playing around that you can do on that with light and shade. Most of the time when I'm picking up something and doing sound check, like, I think that's the only time when we use songs that we've learned. Probably be one of the main ones, I think, at the moment. Listening to at the moment, I can tell you, on my Apple Music, I get very lazy, so I set up one playlist and I just basically permanently listen to it. So I set up a playlist and I labeled it Maynard, for Maynard Keenan. So anything that I can find on Apple Music that's got to do with him, I basically have that on there. So whether it's Pussifer or Perfect Circle, Minute, then I'll put that on. Obviously, Tool is unfortunately not on Apple Music. The gear that I use, I ended up being very fussy. I'm not like one of those bass player guys that will change my gear very often. If I am playing anything besides what I'm holding now, it's just a phase. So it never lasts. I'll play on anything really, but then it never get up for about a month or so at most, and then you just kind of change around. But I always go back to is my main bass, which is the Sandberg. So I've been playing for a good few years now. Little odds and ends that I've done to it myself, which is basically just the scratch plate, which I think is a little bit different. I just had a wooden one installed, which is a bit more comfortable than having plastic. I don't like the plastic feel. Besides that, in terms of basses, obviously you can't go wrong with this guy with a nice maple neck. I love a maple neck, and that's quite rare to find, I think, with a lot of basses nowadays. Most of them are going for the rosewoods. But past that, amp-wise, I love the Mark bass. So that's also what I've just been sticking to at the moment. So if someone says that they're supplying sound and that need to have good sound, I'll ask them if it's Mark bass, and if it's not Mark bass, I'd rather just bring my own gear instead of playing something else. The main one, I don't know if the camera can see what it is, the little Mark III guy. So here's my go-to with either the 10, I think it's a 10, or the 4x10 that we have, but that's only for the very rare occasion you're allowed to be heard. But yeah, I think that's probably the main stuff in terms of gear. I don't really use any effect pedals or anything like that. I've messed around on a lot of them, but that's also the same type of thing when it comes to anything else besides this bass for me is it lasts for about a month and then I get over it. So I've had a Juggernaut distortion pedal, and that was fun. That was probably a pedal I had for the longest. But also, if I'm going to be playing basically like a Fender, like a Jazz, or if I'm playing a P bass or something, there's that Nathan East parametric equalizer, which I think really gives the Fenders a lot more of a bit of a kick to it, because mid-range is important. So, and if the Fender's lacking on that, you can just chuck that guy in. If I had a lot of money right now, type of vibe thing, I'd probably go to Germany and just get Sandberg to take a look at this guy and just get it back to its good old faithful self. Because I mean, it has seen a lot of wars, and I think that's with also most musician vibes type of thing. You need gear that can take a punch. So especially like with the rock and roll days, gear needs to be rough and tough. So I think this thing has fallen off stages that are really high, and everything, and you pick it up, it's just slightly out of tune, and you tune it up and then it goes again. I've had cables snap inside it and then still pick it up and it carries on working. So then just to get it back to its proper state would be nice. Otherwise, most of the Sandberg, I mean, I'd like to have a customized Sandberg. There are other shops around there as well that I would check out and everything, so a Fodera or something like that. But I don't know if that would ever become a permanent bass, but there will just be ones that you would like to add to the collection vibe type of thing.